Hello everybody, welcome back. This video is gonna be about something that is very subjective. Chances are your opinion is gonna be different from me from this, but today I'm gonna be talking about what I think is the most important Balisong trick to learn throughout your whole flipping career or lifespan, I guess. Firstly, I wanna clarify, this will not be a tutorial. This is just my opinions on what trick is the most important. But if you want a tutorial, feel free to ask. Maybe I'll make one, who knows. But yeah, what do I think is the most important trick to learn? Is it maybe a rollover? Sure, rollovers are super important, but I think that's something you'll learn inevitably, right? But what is something you need to go out of your way to learn? I think the most important thing is this little fucking... Why did I swear? Okay. I think the most important trick is the behind the 8 ball. And that's for several reasons. Firstly, the behind the 8 ball looks pretty flashy, and that kind of, I guess, rewards you for your work because you know that, wow, this trick looks so cool. I learned to do this. And that is a really big payoff because you can see the accomplishments, right? And I think the behind the 8 ball is a really, really good, I guess, materialization of your work because it will be probably one of the most complicated tricks you learn up to the point where you actually learn it. And the second reason is because the behind the 8 ball teaches you a lot of really, really fundamental stuff. So before the 8 ball, chances are the tricks you learn will be like the fan, the chaplain, maybe some rollovers. But all those tricks will be like singular, split up tricks. But the behind the 8 ball is 3 tricks put together. So it's a single 0G chaplain into a thumb chaplain into a Zen rollover. And that is 3 tricks. And if you are just starting out, you would not have even considered chaining these tricks together yet. Unless you have, in that case, great, right? But if you haven't, the behind the 8 ball will probably be the hardest thing that you've learned thus far. I know that it was for me, I know that it was for a lot of other people. Because, once again, the 8 ball proposes something that you've never done before, chaining tricks together. So that also teaches you how to make combos. Because when you're doing the 8 ball, you will realize these tricks almost feel like they're meant to come together. And that's because they flow very well into each other, which is why they became one trick, the 8 ball. So once you are fluent with the 8 ball, you will probably try to do something after it. And that is another good reason for learning the 8 ball. It is very easy to come out of. So for example, for me, when I first learned the 8 ball, I felt that this was kind of a not a bad ending, right? Just catching it like this. It just felt unfinished, I guess. So naturally, I decided, what if I do this? And eventually I found out that's called a helix. And that's really great because I didn't go out of my way to learn a helix. It's just something that came naturally after the 8 ball. So if you want to kind of experiment, I think the 8 ball is a great place to start because it gives you so much freedom. Other than that, I think there are quite a few other honorable mentions, words. There are quite a few other honorable mentions for tricks. Firstly, the helix, same reason as 8 ball, but it's a bit harder technically because it's 2 rollovers, so whatever, I think they're interchangeable. It's just 8 ball is a bit better for me because of the chaplain parts. But other than that, I think some really important tricks to learn would be the whip rollover, also to help with flow. Because if you can get it down real smooth, not that, if you can get it down real smooth, it looks like one move, which is really good, because that means your flow is good. And some other important tricks, I guess, would be all your basics, right? So your basic rollovers, your single rollovers, your fans, your chaplains, all of these are going to be really essential before you even move on to stuff like the 8 ball, because that is what basically every other trick builds off of. So for example, the combo that I normally do is this. Okay, that was pretty sloppy, but you get the idea. All that is basically just made of tricks that I learned before. It's just they are strung together in different ways. Oh yes, one more kind of important thing to learn. Once you're confident with doing the 8 ball and the helix, I think it's a good idea to try learning the reverse versions of those tricks, because they look quite different and they can also lead to different stuff. So for example, this is the reverse 8 ball, and that lets you go straight into a normal 8 ball, or a full twirl, or God knows what different stuff that the normal 8 ball can't do. So feel free to learn the reverse versions of tricks that you already know, and I think that will be really helpful. But yeah, to close out this video, I would say, I think the most important trick to learn as a beginner is the 8 ball. But if you can't do that yet, focus on the small stuff, your Y2K, your whip rollover, anything else. Not a choker fan, definitely not a choker fan. But yeah, just learn what you want to. You can feel free to ignore my advice. If a trick looks cool to you, that's gonna be the best motivator you have, not what some random guy on the internet says. And yeah, that's about it for now. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.